Hello everyone, welcome back to History Faces AI. Today, we're taking a closer look at the winding roads and pivotal moments that led 10 notable figures to the American presidency. No longer just names in old history books, History Faces AI unpacks the journeys of men like Theodore Roosevelt, Franklin D. Roosevelt, and Woodrow Wilson, exploring their early lives, careers, and the campaigns that catapulted them to the nation's highest office. Through AI, we're revisiting how these 10 individuals navigated the political landscapes of their times to become president. Was it destiny, ambition, or circumstance? Watch and reflect for yourself. Who else's path to power should we explore? Drop your suggestions in the comments below. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Number 1. Benjamin Harrison. Born on August 20, 1833 in North Bend, Ohio, and passing away on March 13, 1901, Benjamin Harrison hailed from a prominent political family. His great-grandfather was a signer of the Declaration of Independence, and his grandfather, William Henry Harrison, was the 9th U.S. president. Harrison pursued a legal career after graduating from Miami University in Ohio. He moved to Indianapolis, Indiana in 1854, where he quickly established himself as a skilled lawyer and a compelling public speaker, becoming active in the newly formed Republican Party. His career was interrupted by the Civil War, during which he served with distinction, commanding the 70th Indiana Volunteer Infantry Regiment and eventually earning the rank of Brevet Brigadier General for his leadership, particularly at the Battle of Resaca and the Battle of Peachtree Creek. After the war, Harrison returned to his law practice and political activities. He ran unsuccessfully for governor of Indiana in 1876, but gained wider recognition. His legal acumen and war record made him a respected figure, and in 1881, he was elected by the Indiana legislature to the U.S. Senate. During his single term as a senator, he championed issues like veterans' pensions, civil service reform, and protective tariffs. Though he lost his Senate re-election bid in 1887, his national stature had grown. The Republican Party, seeking a candidate with a strong record and appeal in a key swing state, nominated Harrison for president in 1888. He ran a front porch campaign, delivering speeches to delegations visiting him in Indianapolis. Despite losing the popular vote to incumbent Grover Cleveland, Harrison won the Electoral College, securing his path to the presidency with a platform focused on tariffs and a more assertive foreign policy. His journey was one of steady ascent, leveraging family legacy, legal skill, military valor, and a consistent political presence. Number 2. Grover Cleveland. Stephen Grover Cleveland was born on March 18, 1837, in Caldwell, New Jersey, and died on June 24, 1908. His path to the presidency was marked by a meteoric rise, fueled by a reputation for honesty and reform. Cleveland's early life was modest. His father was a Presbyterian minister, and the family moved several times. He received a common school education and, after his father's death, worked various jobs before settling in Buffalo, New York to study law. He was admitted to the bar in 1859 and slowly built a successful legal practice. Cleveland's political career began relatively late. He was first elected sheriff of Erie County, New York in 1871, where he gained a reputation for integrity by personally carrying out executions to avoid paying the usual fee to a deputy, thus saving taxpayers' money and for cracking down on corruption. After his term as sheriff, he returned to law, but was drawn back into politics by reformers seeking a candidate to clean up Buffalo city government. In 1881, he was elected mayor of Buffalo, campaigning on a platform of "Public office is a public trust." As mayor, he became known as the Veto Mayor for his frequent use of the veto power to block wasteful spending and corrupt measures, which significantly enhanced his statewide reputation. This image of a staunch reformer propelled him to the Democratic nomination for governor of New York in 1882, an election he won by a landslide. As governor, Cleveland continued his fight against corruption and patronage, particularly clashing with the powerful Tammany Hall political machine in New York City. His reformist credentials and his appeal as an outsider untainted by Washington politics made him an attractive candidate for the Democratic presidential nomination in 1884. The campaign against Republican James G. Blaine was notoriously ugly, focusing on personal scandals, but Cleveland's image as Grover the Good resonated with voters tired of corruption, leading him to a narrow victory and becoming the first Democrat-elected president since before the Civil War. His path was defined by a rapid ascent from local official to the nation's highest office, largely built on his unwavering commitment to fiscal conservatism and honest governance. Number 3. William McKinley. Born on January 29, 1843 in Niles, Ohio, and meeting his tragic end on September 14, 1901, William McKinley's journey to the presidency was a testament to his political skill, his affability, and his deep connection with the Republican Party's core tenets. He grew up in a working-class family and briefly attended Allegheny College before the Civil War broke out. McKinley enlisted as a private in the 23rd Ohio Volunteer Infantry and rose through the ranks due to his bravery and competence, eventually becoming a brevet major. His wartime service under future President Rutherford B. Hayes was a formative experience and a source of lifelong pride. After the war, McKinley studied law, was admitted to the bar in 1867, and opened a practice in Canton, Ohio, which became his lifelong home. He quickly became involved in Republican politics, known for his eloquent speaking and personable demeanor. In 1876, he was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives, where he served for nearly 14 years. In Congress, McKinley became a leading expert on tariff policy, ardently championing protective tariffs as crucial for American industry and workers. He was the architect of the McKinley Tariff of 1890, a highly protectionist measure. Though this tariff was controversial and contributed to his temporary loss of his House seat in the 1890 Democratic landslide, his reputation as a party stalwart and economic expert remained strong. He then successfully ran for governor of Ohio, serving 2 terms from 1892 to 1896. As governor, he dealt with labor unrest and economic issues, further burnishing his credentials as a capable leader. His close friend and political strategist, Mark Hanna, a wealthy Cleveland industrialist, meticulously managed McKinley's rise, promoting him as the advance agent of prosperity. By 1896, McKinley was the clear frontrunner for the Republican presidential nomination. He conducted a famous front porch campaign from his home in Canton, while Hanna organized a sophisticated and well-funded national effort. McKinley defeated Democrat William Jennings Bryan in a pivotal election that focused on the economy, particularly the debate over the gold standard versus free silver, with McKinley championing sound money and protectionism, promising a return to prosperity. Number 4. Theodore Roosevelt. Theodore Roosevelt, born on October 27, 1858 in New York City and passing on January 6, 1919, was a force of nature whose path to the presidency was as dynamic and unconventional as his personality. Born into a wealthy and prominent family, the young, asthmatic Roosevelt overcame physical frailty through sheer determination, embracing a strenuous life. After graduating from Harvard University, he immediately plunged into politics, winning election to the New York State Assembly in 1881 at the age of 23, where he quickly made a name for himself as a reformer fighting corruption. A personal tragedy, the deaths of his wife and mother on the same day in 1884, led him to retreat to the Dakota Badlands for 2 years, where he lived as a rancher and cowboy, an experience that profoundly shaped him. Returning to public life, Roosevelt served as a U.S. Civil Service Commissioner, then as president of the New York City Police Commissioners, where he again battled corruption with vigor. President McKinley appointed him Assistant Secretary of the Navy in 1897, a post he used to advocate for naval expansion. When the Spanish-American War erupted in 1898, Roosevelt famously resigned to form the first U.S. volunteer cavalry, the Rough Riders, leading them in a celebrated charge up San Juan Hill in Cuba, which cemented his status as a national hero. Upon his return, he was elected governor of New York in 1898. As governor, his reformist agenda often clashed with Republican Party bosses, who, to sideline him, engineered his nomination as McKinley's vice president in the 1900 election. Roosevelt reluctantly accepted, viewing the vice presidency as a political dead end. However, fate intervened. Just 6 months into McKinley's second term, an assassin's bullet mortally wounded the president, and on September 14, 1901, Theodore Roosevelt, at age 42, became the youngest president in U.S. history. His ascent was a whirlwind of reform, adventure, and unexpected turns, driven by an indomitable will and a keen sense of public service. Number 5. William Howard Taft. Born on September 15, 1857, in Cincinnati, Ohio, and dying on March 8, 1930, William Howard Taft's path to the presidency was less about personal ambition for the office and more about a sense of duty and loyalty, particularly to his predecessor, Theodore Roosevelt. Taft came from a politically active family. His father had served as Secretary of War and Attorney General. He graduated second in his class from Yale College and then from Cincinnati Law School. Taft preferred law and judicial roles to the rough and tumble of elective politics. His early career was a steady climb through legal and judicial appointments, assistant prosecutor, state superior court judge, and then, at just 32, U.S. Solicitor General, where he argued cases before the Supreme Court with distinction. In 1892, he was appointed a judge on the newly created U.S. Court of Appeals for the Sixth Circuit, a position he cherished. His judicial career was interrupted in 1900 when President McKinley asked him to head a commission to govern the Philippines, recently acquired from Spain. Taft reluctantly accepted, becoming the first civilian governor-general of the Philippines in 1901. He did commendable work there, improving infrastructure, education, and establishing local governance, earning the affection of many Filipinos. President Theodore Roosevelt, a close friend, brought Taft back to Washington in 1904 to serve as his Secretary of War. In this role, Taft became Roosevelt's most trusted advisor, troubleshooter, and de facto acting president during Roosevelt's travels. He oversaw the construction of the Panama Canal and managed colonial affairs. Roosevelt, choosing not to seek a third term in 1908, handpicked Taft as his successor, effectively securing him the Republican nomination. Taft, despite his personal preference for a Supreme Court seat, felt a duty to carry on Roosevelt's policies. He campaigned on this promise and comfortably defeated Democrat William Jennings Bryan. Taft's journey to the White House was thus paved by his judicial temperament, administrative skill, and the powerful endorsement of one of America's most popular presidents, rather than a driving personal quest for the office itself. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the paths these figures took to the presidency, don't hesitate to share it with your friends and hit subscribe so you won't miss our next exciting content.